Hey there, Patriots. It's True Outlaw Patriot here, coming at you with something that just came out. Just came across it, listening to another content creator. Did a little digging and just found this video that came out by Fox about 7, 8 hours ago. It's in my opinion, it's already begun with the cover up of how many people are missing. Pay close attention. The first couple of seconds on what's said here on Fox. Before I started, I just want to thank all the new subscribers and everybody that's been watching my videos, giving them thumbs up, all the comments that I've been getting. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass it around to your friends, and keep the word going. It seems like that's the only way the people of Hawaii are gonna get the word out. There's a lot more video coming out. I'm gonna try to drop at least 2 more today if I can, but just want you guys to pay close attention to a couple of things right here. So here we go.
Meanwhile, accusations of evidence tampering in the Maui fire investigation as nearly 300 people are still missing in Lahaina.
Okay, that right there already. I know it's quick. This is the second time I've heard that today, that number, or somewhere close to that number. The first one was I think it was 380 or 580, and now this one 300. Never mind this time frame here. This is just a video when they did it on August 18th, but this came out 7 hours ago from Fox News channel on YouTube. I'm gonna play it again and listen to the way she says it, and then keeps going on to the next part of the story.
300 people are still missing in Lahaina. The Washington Post is reporting that Hawaiian Electric is being accused of hauling away fallen power lines.
See that? Just brushed right over it quickly. While 300 people are still missing, and right away they want to start skirting the problem to somebody else, saying that it was the power company's fault. People, with everything that's been said, they're trying to quickly mull over how many people are missing. Okay, now you've been hearing the stories. You've been hearing the way they've been putting up walls and fencing all around the area. Okay, where the locals can't get in. They want no drones coming over, anything like that. Listen to this now in this report.
Transformers and other equipment before investigators could get there. Will Kane's the coast of
excuse me, let me rewind that so you can listen to what they say.
Fallen power lines, transformers, and other equipment before investigators could get there. Will Kane's the coast of Fox and Friends.
Now, how is that possible? How is that possible that the power company got there and started moving everything that was down, when up until a few days ago, before they built those fences, everything was there? Then they built the fences. It was by the authorities, okay? The police department, the fire department, I mean, whoever they had there, FEMA, FBI agents. You mean to tell me that the power company has that much more power over, over the police forces there? You see how quickly they're trying to mull this over? I just caught all that as soon as I was playing this. I was like, whoa, wait a minute, slow down. You're jumping from one topic to the next, like right away. Totally went right over how many people are missing. That right there is it's a fallacy in itself. Now they're trying to change it. First we were at thousands missing. Now Fox is saying 300. You see what's going on here? They're trying to clean this up quick. And like I said in my last video, I would not be surprised if when they pull those fences down, that whole area is just, swept up clean. How they can get everything out of there without anybody noticing is anybody's guess. But everybody knows the powers that be. You'll go to sleep one night, wake up the next day, and if you left it up to them, they'll build a damn city in front of your house without you even losing a wink of sleep. That's one thing that the military's always been good at. Okay, it's building and demolishing within a matter of time that it just leaves the mind baffled how quickly they can do something like that. But let's continue some more on this.
This weekend, he has family who survived there. Will, I know you have many stories to tell, and you've been extensively covering all of this. But what is your reaction to this reporting from the Washington Post that says, quote, the Hawaiian power utility believed to have started this deadly Lahaina fire, removed damaged power poles and other equipment from a key fire scene, potentially affecting evidence that is part of an official investigation into how this blaze ignited, Will?
That you see, that right there is where people got to be suspect. And people will say, well, why would they do that? Well, pay attention. Shift the blame to the power company. Okay? If they get what they want, building their AI city, they're not going to need a power company. It's going to be privately owned by the people that want that city. It's plain as day. You got to remember, the power company is a separate entity. They'll just as much as destroy their company, get them off the island so they can bring in their own power grid. You're not going to have all these evil billionaires that want this AI city, okay, having a separate entity like the power company in charge of the power when they can just shut down their power grid. They're shifting the blame. And like I said before in my last video, I am 100% sure that, you know what, the way I feel right now, I mean, I'm convinced that this had nothing to do with hurricane winds and a power line coming down and everything that we've seen. I mean, that was just the act of the way it turned out. No, this has turned out, and what they're doing that's going to make them look more suspect is that they're speeding up the information, trying to push everything, trying to get it out the way as quickly as they can. Their first mistake was telling the media to put out that number of missing people. And that right there in itself is one of the biggest red flags that people need to pay attention to. Because if family and friends have not come forward, since there still is a media blackout, how is anybody supposed to know the truth of how many people have been found? And I'm going to show you something in this video, so pay attention.
Yeah, my reaction to that, Sandra, is that everybody is very interested in finding accountability, and many want to find a bad guy in this story, and Hawaiian Electric is not doing themselves any favors in casting themselves in the role of the villain. There are questions here about Hawaiian Electric, like why was their electricity continuing to flow to
Does that look like power lines right there? But
Lahaina throughout that day? Electricity was lost, power was lost somewhere around 6 a.m. It came back on at various times. There's been surveys of the electrical grid that day, Sandra, and it looks like, there's a revelation of pops or outages right when the first fire broke out early in the morning at 6 a.m. And there's video, as you know, and I think most people watching have seen the video of a downed power line sparking into dry grass. I can tell you that those power lines often with Hawaiian Electric were old, rickety wood power lines, and there was 80-mile-an-hour winds that day. They were also on notice. There was a big fire in 2018, and since that time, the power lines weren't put underground. They weren't really upgraded to big, reinforced steel structures. So you had a catastrophe waiting to happen. And then to know that after the fact, according to the Washington Post, they already removed some downed.
Okay, pay attention to this drone flight. This is Front Street. Okay, this is, as they get closer,
poles and lines from
you see the streets empty. This is where everybody was turning.
Sure makes you look guilty.
Okay.
Now there may be reasons, and they may say we want to get
now
power
stop
back to
right about here because it switches over. Right about
and
here.
We need to clean up.
See all the cars? See how empty where my green arrow's at? See how empty that is? All that's empty. No power lines down. Okay, people could have kept going. They were turning from here. They were being stopped. Okay? By what the natives have been saying.
The air.
Look at that. Empty. This is where they were told, supposedly where there was police officers telling them, making them stop. And if they weren't there, then why couldn't they keep going? How come there's no more cars going up that way? Something was obstructing them right there.
Area.
And if you look,
there are protocols for
this is empty.
From what I understand, there are procedures.
This is from the
and
opposite
these
side.
follow the procedures of removing.
See the cars are
equipment
pointing this
after a
way?
fire.
And knowing the ATF would then soon be on the ground there to have
See the way all the
removed,
cars are pointing this way?
any
Look
of
at all
this,
that empty space.
Obviously, would impair their ability to thoroughly carry out an investigation. So that's
This
according
is
to lawyers
right
in the
here.
Washington Post, that the Maui utility may have compromised evidence in
Do you see that,
this
people?
fire investigation. But meanwhile, Will,
All the cars. Does anybody see any power lines? All the power lines are up. 1, 2. You got power lines going all up. What was the obstruction? Power line. What was the obstruction? You got cars here in the parking lot. All the cars, something stopped them right here. All the cars are going back that way. All this is empty. The more and more that they're showing this without realizing that people are going to put 2 and 2 together, the more this reeks of an inside job. People need to pay attention.
there are many that we know. We know this as a fact. They had no.
Now you see some of these cars are backwards, some of them this way. That's because they were being... See, this is where they started coming from. Some cars are coming this way, some cars are the opposite way. They were telling them to go back. Way before the fire got here. So people were coming through and then being turned around to go back. And this is where they started getting jammed up. Okay? At least in my eyes.
There
I'll go
are
back
many
again.
that we know.
See, the
We
cars
know this
1,
is a
2,
fact. They
3,
had no
4, 5.
warning.
It's like
had no
they were
way out,
so they got jammed up.
in these Maui fires. We know there was significant failures that occurred, including emergency sirens that were never used well. Road closures prevented people from escaping. Some had to clear barricades just to survive. There were evacuation orders that were given just too late, Will.
That's all very true.
Right here, hundreds of people missing due to Maui fires. They went from thousands, now down to hundreds. It'll go down to dozens. But they'll never give the exact number or let people speak because they're in a media blackout, cell phone blackout, communication blackout. They've already passed with the FAA or whatever it is, that no drones are to be flown over the area. Why? Why are they holding everything back? Why is the media listening and putting out numbers that nobody knows for sure? And if all those people are being found alive, where are they to talk about it? But let's continue.
Sandra, and you say why? Why was there such extensive failure? And I think that's what everybody is asking. How could you have such system-wide failure to the point where, for many, they look at this and they start to go, well, that much failure looks intentional. Let me tell you what I have been told and what I've come to understand. Hawaii, as a government system
and I hate to bring this up also, but I've come across a lot of videos with rescue workers. I'm gonna try to get many as I can and put it together. All you see is the same scenario, just people walking through the wreckage. That's all you see. I mean, nonchalantly just walking around. I rarely have seen anybody lifting anything up. They're just walking around. Matter of fact, I've noticed some videos, I'm gonna track them down again, where you see the people with the rescue dogs. One lady has a black rescue dog. The dog is in one spot and he is going ballistic, and the girl is just nonchalantly walking over while the dog is trying to tell her. He comes over to her, tries to go back, and there's 2 people there. One of them is just standing there, the other one's just walking nonchalantly to where the dog is at. That is not the sign of people trying to rescue and find remains or whatever the case is. And this is what you mostly see, and in groups, 3 or 4 or 5, just walking around like aimlessly, as if they're doing something, but you can clearly see they're doing nothing. And I think that's why they want the media blackout. They're not letting people film, because it's almost as if they just have fill-ins, just pretending to make it look like it's okay, like they're doing their job, but they don't want the people on the ground putting their 2 cents in. And they're trying to get and have you noticed that there was a media blackout? All of a sudden, now the media's coming out with these numbers that they already send out the script of what to say. I've lost a lot of respect for Fox News a long time ago. Especially, and if nobody likes it, I'm sorry. It's just, hey, my opinion is my opinion, yours is yours. When they got rid of Tucker Carlson over the January 6th videotapes, all that footage, and they got rid of him, I was like, nah, they've been compromised. Everybody has a price. They've been compromised. But let's finish this off.
Public service often is filled with patronage. People get jobs often because of who they know or who they're related to, because of what family they're in. That doesn't breed an environment for competence or merit. No competition. There's that element. There's also simple human error. There's also cascading catastrophes. I've talked to people who are working with, counseling the guys on the ground that day who were pointing people towards Front Street instead of down the highway because there was a downed power line, and that would seem to be, in the moment, the most immediate catastrophe or threat. Obviously, in retrospect, cut that line. Hawaiian Electric, stop power flowing into the town.
Yeah.
Get people out of
town.
town.
All you see is just people walking around. One guy lifts a piece of sheet metal. It's probably the same footage, the same guy. That piece of sheet metal right there. It's almost as if they're just filming, whatever they can. Oh, let's make it look good. I mean, there should be hundreds of people out here. We've seen the videos of catastrophes around the world where the residents get in. You got the emergency services in. Everybody's chipping in, just trying to figure out. Let's get in there. Let's find. Let's get in there. They got the dogs. They got the citizens. They got the people. They got it. Over here, you just have people walking around.
On the highways, but from what I've been told, nobody appreciated how fast that fire would barrel through town. I mean, I've been told it was going from house to house the way it was
just groups just walking around.
Wild grass.
What is this? Is it a photo op? It's like people are just walking. Look at this.
Boom, boom, boom. An hour.
Waving, giving thumbs up.
And nobody appreciated that, or at least the guys on the ground and those receiving some direct instruction weren't appreciating that's the immediate threat. So you have human error. And I can tell you for a fact, there's a ton of guilt and there's a ton of reconciliation happening right now from some of the people that made those bad decisions, Sandra. So you've got patronage, you've got incompetence, you've got human error. You've got all kinds of things contributing to what amounts to, well, the worst disaster in American history of the last 100 years.
And far too many still listed as missing, even at this hour. We are praying for them and hoping for the best. Will, thank you very much.
Okay, I'm just not buying none of it. I'm sorry. I'm not buying it. The cover-up has already begun. I mean, the cover-up already started, but now they're pushing. They're trying to finalize the cover-up to try to make people think, oh, well, it's not as bad as it was. I'm sorry. You don't go from thousands of people missing, total chaos, media blackout, civilian blackout, drone blackout, and excuse me, telling people you can't be in this area and you can't videotape or take pictures, cell phone blackout, Wi-Fi blackout, to all of a sudden, oh, well, it was the power company's fault, and, it's about between 300 and 500 people missing. How do you downgrade that much knowing that if you're blocking that much information out, how do you expect anybody to believe what you're saying? Has anybody seen any video footage of people on the island? And I've said this in my last videos, that I find it hard to believe. Like if this happened, let's say, in California, I could understand people in New York not knowing what's going on in California, and vice versa. Hawaii is a group of islands. I mean, this is generations upon generations of people. A lot of people born and raised in Hawaii don't really leave Hawaii. So you mean to tell me with all the other people on all the other parts of the island, okay, no word from them, no news reports from them, no interviews from them, asking how many, because obviously people on Maui have family members on the other parts of the island, all over all the other islands. But there's a media blackout. Why? I'll tell you why. Because that's where the chaos is at. Where people are crying and asking questions, and my family and my friends and my cousin and my brother, we want answers, so they're blocking them off. What we need is people from those islands. We need information from them. We're getting the information from what we can from the people down there on Maui. We need more information from the people off that part of Hawaii to find out. And this is definitely not over. I mean, it's definitely not. It's going to get a lot uglier. From what we see so far, it's going to get a lot more ugly. And that's the sad part. That it's a mess already as it is. But, I mean, there's already talking. I don't know if it's true or not. I mean, I know nothing about real estate. But there's talk saying that representatives of BlackRock are trying to, they're going around asking about the property. Don't know if it's true. Don't know if anybody's ever heard of BlackRock. Supposedly they own a lot of real estate around the world, especially in the United States. But this all does not. It's not combining to what the powers that be want. They're getting sloppy. And this right here, putting out a report like that, and this is the second time I've heard it today, where they downgraded the missing list, but it's only coming from the mayor and the small group of the powers that be that are there. And that's not acceptable. I'm sorry. But I'll continue to try to find out as much information as I can. Please comment, like, subscribe, pass it around. Whatever other footage you got, put it out there, people. And if you have any you want to email me, maybe I can put a video together, stuff that we haven't seen just yet, or if not, do it yourself. It's not it's not that hard to start a channel, and put it on wherever you can, on YouTube, Rumble, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Just put it out. Put it out. People need to know. This has gone way beyond. This is not a conspiracy anymore. I'm sorry. For anybody to, and I've noticed on a lot of the videos, a lot of hacks are coming out using the word conspiracy, and putting people down for their comments and what they believe. And I mean, you got people saying, "Oh, there's one on one video, this guy, he's a retired 35-year firefighter, and he's just like bashing everybody, saying, I see that happen to cars all the time." Whereas 9 out of 10 people are contradicting his words, saying, I've never seen fires like that. Cars get destroyed because of a fire like that. But this one guy wants everybody to believe that he's a fireman, number one, okay, and that two, that his word is what goes, and that happens to almost every car when they burn up, the way they just turn to dust and liquefy. No, sorry, not gonna eat that. Not gonna eat that piece of the pie, man. No way. But as always, keep praying for the people in Maui and stay vigilant. Keep praying and keep praying for each other. Peace.